I tried walking and talking, and for whatever reason, I just can't. I don't know what it is. I wanted to talk about, actually, I want to talk about slow growth today. I just feel like we're marketed to so much, geared towards fast results. And I think that while I understand why we want things to change or things to improve in a short amount of time, really the best growth is in things taking a while. It's been 4 years since the accident almost. And I never took for granted all the small changes, all the small improvements, all the gradual strength that I was building. And I never took it for granted. And having it be so slow and having to work so hard for it, it really made me slow down and appreciate myself. It made me appreciate my body more. It made me appreciate and learn all these different things throughout. And same thing with therapy. I was in therapy for years, and it was that slow change and the slow growth that really helped me acknowledge and appreciate what all was happening. And so sometimes when we, or at least myself, sometimes when I hear people talking about things changing quickly, I immediately shy away because I know that I won't appreciate it nearly as much. I remember I actually did start running a couple years ago, and I wanted just to see if I could. And I started, I think I could run maybe 10 seconds at a time. And just over the months, it just gradually, very gradually increased in terms of time, in terms of distance. I ended up running a 5K, which I never, in my whole life, I had never been a runner before. And the fact that that pulled off like that was absolutely insane to me. But I appreciated it so much, and it took so long for it to feel comfortable. It took so long, or comfortable. It took so long for an easy run to be a thing, because like with running, it's like you do go on these quote unquote easy runs, where it's just like they're not very, you're just going at a slower pace. It's like other people's easy runs that was my sprint. That slow change was everything. It was everything to me. Taking those little bits, and it was like I was always in the step I was in. I actually had it written on my hands before the 5K. It said, "Run the step you're in," and it's okay. It's okay for things to take a long time. And when I crossed that finish line, not even once did I think about the achieving the goal by itself. It was crossing that finish line. All I could think about was at that point, I think I'd been injured it was 2.5 years after the accident. That last stretch, I was like 2.5 years, and I thought about everything I had done, just everything I had done up to that point. And it wasn't even about the running. It wasn't about the achievement. It was about how good I felt, how often I showed up for myself, and how I kept pushing, but also pushing in a way that respected where my body was, that respected where my mental state was, how often I showed up for myself through really, really hard times. I don't run much anymore because my hip bursitis keeps coming back, but but that was never the point. It was never the point. The point was never really to get good or to be some sort of, running pro or anything. The goal was always just to see what I could do if I just kept showing up and kept applying myself and kept doing it. That was always the point, always. And I'm really proud of myself for that. So it's never the fact that, oh man, you know what, I took a break from fitness, or I took a break from doing this, or I flat out quit. That's not it. It's not, you just pick right back up, you're like, okay, well, I had a good breather. And you just pick right back up and you just get right back into it. However that looks for you. And it could be small, no problem. Because there's a lot to be said about the love and appreciation for your body and for yourself that can come when you give it some grace. That can come when you know that your body is just hurting. You know your body is just doing its best with what it's got, which may not feel like a whole lot, I want to touch on this more, actually, now that I'm talking about this, but I think I'll make a separate video about that. Anyway, small growth is really where it's at. Anytime I've done anything and it was just like immediate, it's like, oh, that was cool, and then you move on. When it's been something that you've been chipping away at for years, There's a lot of pride in that. There's a lot of confidence. And while it's so frustrating at so many points where you feel stagnant, you feel like you're not going anywhere, that is so freaking legit, man. And also, the places that you arrive in a journey that's gonna take a long time are amazing. And when it does take a long time, you have no idea what kind of cool shit you're gonna do along the way. Before the accident, a lot of my fitness was, it was usually like weights, and which is great. There's nothing wrong with that. You lift weights, yes. But I started to really open up my mind and open up, I started to open up my mind about what other ways of fitness there were and what might work for my body now. I was always searching for different ways and different modalities to engage with my body through movement, through stretching, through even the most gentlest of yoga. It all fed me. It all fed my soul. It all fed my connection with myself and my body. And that's really that's the good sauce, man. That's it. And every time my body hurt, I would honor it in a different way. And every time I felt really weak, I would do something gentler and nicer, but still had me progressing in a holistic way. It really came down to being holistic. But I'm so here for my body. I'm so here to see and gain confidence in how I can move and how I can work with my body, not against it. So, I don't know, it's getting kind of chilly out, actually. I just have this shawl and like a sundress on, and I'm kind of regretting my choices. So I think I'll leave it here, actually, for the day. Just something to chew on, something to mull over, and we'll pick it back up. Thank you so much for joining me on these weird, quirky thoughts along my walks, even though I'm not walking because I can't walk and talk. See ya.